evil. So Habakkuk knew that they would not die. He knew that they were not going to be cut off from the land. But thou hast ordained them for judgment. And Almighty God, thou hast established them for correction. So Habakkuk is rehearsing back to God when he said to him that you're going to use the Chaldeans to pronounce judgment. You're going to use the Chaldeans to bring about correction. But he said, listen to verse 13. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look on iniquities. Wherefore lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously? Beholdest thy tongue when the wicked devour the man that is more righteous than he. See, Habakkuk didn't understand. He said, you have pure eyes than to behold evil, and cannot look on iniquity. He understood that God had pure eyes, and he didn't like to look on iniquity because he was holy. But he said, wherefore, why do you look upon them that deal treacherously? And hold thy tongue when the wicked devour the man that is more righteous than he. Habakkuk didn't understand why God would use a nation that was more sinful or more devilish than his own children to bring about judgment. And this didn't sit well in Habakkuk's mind. He said, and make us men of the fishes of the sea, as the creeping things that have no ruler over them. They take up all of them with the ankle. They catch them with their net and gather them with their drag. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. Therefore they sacrifice unto their net and burn incense unto their drag. Because of them their portion is fat and their meat plenteous. Shall they therefore empty their net and not spare continuously to slay nations? He said, you want to allow this, you want to allow their evil to not look upon their evil. You're going to allow it to go forth, and you're going to allow it to bring correction upon us. And however we're going to look, they're going to glory in the fact that they're judging us. They're going to glory in the fact that they're overtaking us. And this didn't sit well with Habakkuk, because Habakkuk knew that God would deliver his people. He knew that God would bring his people back to right standing. He understood it. And so Habakkuk, after questioning God, this brings us to where our text is. After questioning God, Habakkuk said, well, I gave my question, so I will stand upon my watch and set upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So I'm going to sit and I'm going to watch it. I'm going to wait and I'm going to listen to see what God has to say to me, because this is not sitting well with me. And Habakkuk was uneasy in his spirit, because he knew the promises of God, and he knew because he was a prophet. He knew the future of his people. He knew what was in the future, but he didn't understand what was going on right now, and he needed God to speak to him. He needed some comfort. He needed something to let him know. He needed God to speak to this matter in his mind. He needed God to speak to this confusion. He needed God to speak to his disheartedness, because Habakkuk didn't understand why God was moving the way he did now. And the Lord answered, he said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run and read it. So God began to speak to Habakkuk, and he told him, said, to write the vision, that vision that I have given you, you need to write it upon some tables. So he told Habakkuk, don't just hold the vision in your head, but you need to write it down. But you need not just write it down, but write it on some tables. Write it on tables that he may run and read it. He wanted you to write the vision on tables so others may see it. And I know that, that in our life, many times in our youth, God will give us some things. We may not necessarily know that God has given us something, but God may give us we may have some goals that we want to attain in our life. It may be career goals on a natural sense. It may be some spiritual goals and something that we want to do for God in his kingdom that God will place in us. Or we may even know that God has given us a vision and God has spoken some things to us. But it seems like many times that when we have these visions, many times in our youth, because the Bible talks about the young men gonna see visions and the old men gonna dream. So many times the visions come to those that are in their youth, because in your youth you are yet strong, and in your youth you have a longevity of life ahead of you in order to accomplish the vision that God may give you. And it seems like that many times we may have visions and God may give us things to do, and as we set out to even attempt to do these things. And it seems like that these things are so far from us. And it seems like we don't have the resources we need to even bring these things about. And it seems like, or we may begin to walk in this area, but it seems like the more we try to get into the vision, the more dismay to come about. And many of us, as life go on, after setting goals in our youth, after having vision in our young mind, yet still in our purity, maybe not too pure, but it's still in purity of not having dealt with certain life situations, or pure and not having gone through certain things in life, and how our future is bright and it is set before us, and we have these visions. But as we go through life and we begin to go through certain things and we begin to make certain decisions, and some decisions may not be the right decision, or even not just that. Even sometimes we may go through some things, or life may throw something, deal us something that was unexpected in our life, and it begins to throw us, we think, of course, from our vision. And because of that, because the vision was something that was only in our mind, and something that we thought about, something that we pondered about, or we pondered, something that we dreamed about, that we looked at, something we wanted to accomplish, but we never wrote it down. We just thought about that thing. We may have spoken it to different people, or we may not have spoken it to anyone, but it was something that was in our mind, that it was plain in our mind, but there was nothing physical to remind us of the vision. There was nothing physical that we can see to let us know what path that we need to stay on. So as life begins to throw us these things, or as we begin to go through certain things in life, as we begin to make certain decisions in life, and our life begins to go through all these different twists and turns, somewhere along the line we lose the vision, and we lose the thing that we set out to do, and we lose that thing that we were so zealous about. We lose that thing that we were so excited about accomplishing. And it may not be that we are not able to accomplish the vision, but because life has brought us so many twists and turns, we've been through so many things that we lose sight of the vision. Sometimes even forgetting the vision. We may even forgotten the vision that was in our mind, the vision that God had given us, or we've just maybe been so disheartened about it because of life situations, because of where we are in life, that it's not even worth it anymore. And I need to understand this is what Habakkuk was. See, Habakkuk, he was disheartened, he was dismayed, and he was confused, and he needed some understanding. But then the Lord answered him and said, write the vision and make it plain upon table. So not only is he to write the vision, but he's to make it plain. See, it needs to be laid out plain where anybody can read it, can understand it. Why does it need to be plain? So that he may run and read it. See, and you can't read something and then run with it unless you have a good understanding and know what you're running for. You can't read something and run with it unless it's plain, explained out. Someone will say, look, we're going to build a building. And say, okay, and you can stop. You're not going to run with that. Because first of all, you don't even know where the building is going to be built. You don't know where the land is. And you don't know what money is going to be used to build that building. You haven't even seen the blueprint till you know what the building is going to look like. You don't even know who the building company is. You don't even know who the bank is that's going to loan the money to build the building. So you really can't run with that vision because it's not made plain. All you have is the vision. Build a building. And so Habakkuk couldn't just write down the vision, but he had to make it plain. See, even in our life, we have to write it down and make it plain. Even in the secular world, they tell you that when you have an idea, when you have a business idea or a goal, you ought to write these things down and make them plain. Because when you write it down, in writing it down, it's almost like you commit yourself to a contract because you have written it down and now you have something tangible. It's something that you see. It's something that you can look at as a reminder. And it can even become a checklist because you can begin to check out the things that you do as you do it, and you can see the things that need to be done because you have something that's set before you. Now you can run with your vision. See, the vision is no good just